What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. It's starting 11 prediction time for tomorrow's Scottish Cup quarter final at Celtic Park against Hibs. Absolutely buzzing for it. A huge game. We are in pursuit of our ninth domestic treble. This is a big game on the road to doing that. Really looking forward to it. It's obviously been a full week since Celtic have played a game, which feels like a month, given that we've been so used to that rhythm of 3 games a week for the best part of 3 or 4 months there. That game against St Mirren last weekend feels like a month ago. At least it does for me. You can let me know if it does for you as well. This has been a long week, a long busy week for me, hence why this is the first video that you've seen from me this week. But absolutely buzzing to get back to it tomorrow, and it should be a brilliant occasion. Hibs on this remarkable undefeated run for them, given how they started the season. They've really turned it round. They beat Hearts in the derby 2-1 at Easter Road last weekend to take the run to 16 games unbeaten, and they are bringing 7,000 away supporters. I think when that was confirmed, I was unsure whether they would actually sell out that allocation, but by all accounts it looks like they have done, so fair play to them, and it should make for a brilliant spectacle at Celtic Park tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. For us, it's all about trying to avenge obviously the defeat at Easter Road a couple of weeks ago, but more importantly, as I say, take another step towards that domestic treble, get back to Hampden and get a place in the semi-final. Being at home, we're going to have the crowd behind us. Like I say, a big away support, so again that should add an extra edge to the game, but the team have got to be absolutely at it from minute one tomorrow. I'm sure they will be. That full week of preparation has been something that's rare for the manager and rare for the squad so far this calendar year, given there's been so many games. It's been a packed schedule, so I expect to see a fresher Celtic and one motivated, as I say, to take that next step towards a domestic treble tomorrow. And other news this week, we did get the VAR audio released from that game at Easter Road, which I think is about as conclusive as we thought it would be. Certainly a lot more conclusive than the view of the ball being out of the pitch. Again, I think there's been a few high-profile mistakes that VAR has made where they've intervened and then overturned an on-field decision despite not having 100% conclusive evidence to the contrary in the VAR room. I think these are the kind of issues that make people so anti-VAR, and I think there's got to be something that gets improved. There's no way that VAR is going to get scrapped, given the investment in it and given that it's here now. Across European football, it's here to stay. I think Scotland has got to have a long, hard look at how it functions. And I know officiating has been a poor standard in this country for a long time, but since VAR has been introduced, and even more so recently, there's just been some really, really poor decisions, which the existence of it being there has allowed for these wrong decisions of a kind that we've never really seen before. When there's been pre-VAR days where there was a tight on-field decision, you would just go with the referee's decision and not have the opportunity to overturn it. So the fact that we've got some really controversial ones now where that has been overturned despite the fact that they don't have the right angle, they don't have the right technology or the right camera position to prove certain things, it doesn't do itself any favours in terms of garnering support from fans. Right, let's get to the game then and look at the team for tomorrow. Kasper Schmeichel will be in goals as always. I think last weekend they had a string of fine saves against St Mirren. I think in the first half they were the better team. I think they pressed us really well. They got some balls in behind for Olasanya, who had a couple of good chances, and Kasper was called upon to make some big saves for us, and he did that. Obviously we pulled away in the last 10-15 minutes of the game and ended up winning convincingly 5-2, which maybe not a fair reflection on how the game panned out. But I think Kasper was really, really good and he made big saves when he had to. If you go back to the last time Hibs came to Celtic Park, we beat them 3-0, but again, they had chances in the game, particularly early in the first half, and Kasper was again there to make big saves. We'll need that tomorrow if Hibs get a spell of pressure in the game, which you would expect at some stage, given that they're in good form and they're bringing a huge support with them. So we'll need a big performance from Kasper. Back four, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Trusty and Jeffrey Schlupp. Liam Scales will miss this game with an injury to his cheek that he picked up against St Mirren last weekend. Trusty came off in that game as well, which I think was a head knock, maybe a precaution concussion substitution. At the time, he seems to be okay. There was no mention of any problems for him off the back of that. So I think that will be the back four. Jeffrey Schlupp has played very well recently. Gets first goal for the club at St Mirren last weekend. Really well taken. Coming in off that left-hand side. Drilled it low into the far bottom corner. I think he's been a really decent signing for us, and I think as the weeks go on, he's getting better and better. I think Taylor, I know he's just had the birth of his first child, but I think he's going to be on the bench maybe for the foreseeable future. We've got this uncertainty about his future with the contract situation, and he'll probably be lacking some sleep just now anyway, so it's best that Jeffrey deputises right now. Midfield, McGregor, Engels and Hatate again. Is there a chance Luke McCowan could start the game? Possibly. I just think with this full week to prepare for the game, Brendan Rodgers is going to go with the lineup that he thinks is his strongest starting 11, and I think that is McGregor, Engels and Hatate. McCowan made a good impact on the game off the bench last weekend, as did Yang, who we'll come to in a minute. But again, going full strength with a full week to prepare, I think that's the three Brendan will go with, and we've got the option of Luke McCowan in the second half, which we will need at some point in the game. So, front three, Nicholas Kuhn, Jota and Dyson Maeda. I just think right now, if Brendan is looking at his best team, it has to be the team that has Dyson Maeda through the middle. He's scored an incredible amount of goals. I think, again, the goal he scores last weekend is brilliantly taken. It's a great ball over the top from Yang, but the first touch for Dyson is incredible, just to take it inside the defender and then finish it with his left foot into the bottom corner, past the St Mirren goalkeeper. He's in tremendous form. I was actually very impressed by his link-up when he went through the middle last weekend as well. Adam Ida, I think, finds himself in a strange situation where he looked nailed on to become the number one striker for us after Kyogo departed, but after that sort of up-shooting form for a couple of weeks, he has tailed off a bit. And I think if you go back to the first leg against Bayern Munich, where Ida came off and Dyson went through the middle, we looked better. And I think just about every time that Dyson has gone through the middle since then, we've looked a better team. We've looked a different threat. We've looked like we've got more energy. Our ability to press the game and the speed in our game looks much, much better with Dyson through the middle. And therefore, that's why I think Brendan tomorrow is going to go with that setup. Could there be a case for Yang to start the game? Yes, because he has impressed off the bench. He's made good impacts. But again, I think that's where he's at. I think that's a really good role for Yang to play in the run-in, going towards, hopefully securing another treble. Yang can be an impact player who gives us something different off the bench, and I think he's in a good groove of doing that just now. He has been a player throughout his time at Celtic that when he gets the chances, when he gets the starts, he doesn't have the same impact as he does off the bench. This is what I say all the time. So I think Yang's a good option for us off the bench. I think Jota on the left-hand side, we know his ability. I think he made a good impact coming on at half-time at Easter Road a couple of weeks ago. Should have scored, but he had a really good impact in the game, a positive impact. And if you contrast that second half performance at Easter Road to the first half, it was worlds apart. We did dominate the second half. We built up ahead of steam. It just wasn't enough to turn the game around on the day. But the performance was much, much better than it was in that first half, where Dyson was on the left and Ida was through the middle. Kuhn, just now, I think he's not quite at the heights we've seen him this season. He obviously started the season like an absolute house on fire. He's maybe just came off it in terms of his goal scoring, in terms of his final ball and his decision making. It's just been a wee bit rusty at times in the last few weeks. We're looking for him again to kick on in this final sort of run-in business end of the season. But that's 11 I think the manager's going to go with tomorrow. Let me know in the comments any areas that you disagree with, any positions you think are up for grabs. Do you think Adam Ida might be in with a shout at starting? I know that the last time I put Dyson in and said that Ida might start on the bench, there's a lot of people saying, what does that mean for Adamida if we've spent £9 million on him in the summer? Is that now wasted if he can't become the first choice striker after Kyogo's departed? And we've moved Dyson Maeda, who's traditionally played left wing for Celtic, through the middle. I just don't think there's any arguing that we look a better team just now with Dyson in that position. So, like the video, give us your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe already, and I'll see you tomorrow outside the stadium with full-time reaction. Cheers.